Kodak Black has never been one to shy away from controversy. From unexpected social media meltdowns to jaw-dropping confessions about his substance use, he's captured headlines in a way that's both fascinating and alarming. Lately, he's been more blunt than ever. He's admitted that rehab just isn't on his agenda. This startling revelation has people on edge, wondering if they're witnessing the self-destruction of a young star who's given up on getting clean. But behind the viral clips and sensational headlines, there's a deeper story, a chain of warnings, missteps, and raw vulnerability that's been unfolding for far longer than most realize. What began as faint rumblings about Kodak's lifestyle has snowballed into a full-blown crisis, fueled in part by Kodak's own words. He's openly admitted that he has zero plans to enter rehab, and, in a moment that shook fans, suggested he's prepared to keep using until it kills him. Statements like these aren't simple cries for attention. They reveal an unsettling acceptance of a path that leads nowhere good. But how did things get so extreme? For one, he's never hidden his love for certain substances, dropping hints in his music and on social media. Fans remember how he'd pop up on Instagram Live, visibly intoxicated, boasting about mixing cocktails of pills and syrups. At first, many brushed it off as typical rapper braggadocio. Over time, though, each new incident showed that this wasn't just a gimmick to boost streams. Something real and dangerous was happening behind the scenes. When footage surfaced of him sitting in the street devouring fried chicken while clearly under the influence, the internet didn't know whether to laugh, criticize, or worry. Some wrote it off as Kodak simply being Kodak, while others wondered if they were witnessing the unraveling of an artist who desperately needed help. The situation escalated further when he appeared to confirm that he expects to one day OD, and that he's essentially waiting for that moment. It was a stark reminder that what's played out in public view might only be half the story. A few years back, Kodak found himself tangled in legal drama that almost forced him to confront his addiction head-on, at least on paper. Court-ordered rehab was supposed to give him a structured path towards sobriety. Instead, he dodged it like a chore he had no intention of doing. Time after time, he tested positive for the same illicit substances, prompting judges and prosecutors to scratch their heads in frustration. He claimed the tests were flawed, going so far as to suggest lab technicians had mixed his samples with someone else's. Officials called for an immediate retest, this time using hair samples that could trace substance use up to 90 days. But Kodak's legal team balked, and the standoff only worsened. Eventually, the courts tried to impose a mandatory 30-day rehab stint. Kodak resisted, skipped scheduled check-ins, then tested positive again when he finally showed up. One of the most surprising twists came from none other than Kanye West. In a rare display of public concern, Kanye decided to fly all the way to Miami to see if he could personally help Kodak break free from the grip of addiction. In a brief clip, Kanye was seen speaking earnestly about feeling a calling to save his brother. He pointed out a chain Kodak was wearing, interpreting it as a sign that he needed to intervene. But that well-intentioned mission seemed to fizzle just as quickly as it began. There was no grand transformation, no big announcement of Kodak entering a treatment center. Instead, Kodak continued on his merry way, raising eyebrows with more questionable behavior. Some fans applauded Kanye for trying, while others saw the entire episode as yet another sign that Kodak's issues were bigger than any single conversation could fix. For a long time, Kodak's fans have dissected his lyrics, searching for hints about what truly goes on in his life. Even early in his career, certain lines suggested a dependency on hard substances, with references to mixing pills, lean, and who knows what else. But fans couldn't be sure if he was simply playing up a dangerous image or truly living it. What's even more striking is how transparent he was in interviews, occasionally admitting he used to take up to 100 pills a day. Some viewers were convinced he had to be exaggerating because who could survive that? But people who knew him personally weren't so sure. They watched the repeat arrests, the erratic public showings, and the rambling live streams, recognizing the pattern of a genuine addict, not just a rapper hyping up a fabricated persona. As if the public slip-ups weren't alarming enough, rumors of Kodak hitting rock bottom began to swirl with increased frequency. One especially jarring piece of gossip claimed he'd been rushed to the emergency room after an alleged OD. A social media post showed him being carried away, accompanied by the hashtag OD and urgent calls for prayers. Whether that incident was as dire as it appeared is still unclear. Kodak and his team never offered a full explanation. But for fans, it was another chilling reminder that his life was teetering on the edge. Days before that scare, he appeared on an IG Live, so incoherent that viewers couldn't understand half of what he was saying. Some described it as a meltdown. Others labeled it a cry for help. The consistent thread, however, was concern. Even those who had brushed off his behavior as mere showboating started to question whether he was sliding beyond the point of return. In the world of rap, gossip travels fast. Talk of Kodak's alleged hospital run started showing up on message boards and in comment sections across social media. People debated whether these stories were exaggerated or just the latest in a long list of near disasters. In many ways, the swirl of rumors only magnified the sense of helplessness. It's hard to know what's real and what's social media hyperbole, especially when the man at the center of it all remains defiant, insisting he has no intention of quitting. Despite Kodak's tough guy image, it's no secret that there are people around him who genuinely care. Close friends and family members have reportedly tried everything from gentle persuasion to staged interventions, only to be met with closed doors and defiance. Even his legal team, which stands to benefit from him staying out of trouble, hasn't managed to steer him toward permanent sobriety. Some insiders say the rapper's circle is divided between those who enable him, eager to remain in his good graces, and those who urge him to clean up before it's too late. One can only imagine the behind-the-scenes arguments that must be happening. For outsiders, it's tempting to blame Kodak's entourage for not doing more, but addiction stories are rarely that simple. If someone doesn't want help, no amount of pleading or threats can force a transformation. Then there's the added complication of Kodak's public persona. Being the rebellious rap star has become part of his brand. Admitting weakness or seeking help might clash with the image fans expect. He's built a career on raw authenticity, on telling the gritty truths of the streets. Some worry that if he shows vulnerability, it could alienate a portion of his fan base. While that fear may sound trivial compared to life and death stakes, it underscores the complex emotions at play. Legal woes continue to shadow Kodak wherever he goes. Past accusations surfaced, and new charges seem to pop up whenever the old ones died down. This ongoing drama has done more than rack up legal bills. It's spotlighted how deeply his substance issues have affected his judgment. Encounter after encounter with law enforcement reveals the same pattern: a talented artist tangled in allegations that often stem from chaotic or reckless behavior. People in the industry talk quietly among themselves, discussing whether Kodak is worth collaborating with anymore. Some potential partners worry about what might happen if he shows up to a studio session intoxicated, or if a new scandal erupts mid-project. The rap world is no stranger to controversy, but even by those standards, Kodak's unpredictability presents a unique challenge. Each fresh charge or rumor intensifies the spotlight on his mental state. Is he just a troubled young man navigating the pitfalls of fame? Or is he someone who's deeply lost in addiction, unwilling or unable to find his way back? Industry veterans have seen similar stories end in tragedy, which makes them reluctant to watch it happen again without trying to step in. But how do you help someone who's already declared they have no interest in being saved? The question hanging over everyone's head is simple, yet heartbreaking. What happens next? On one hand, Kodak remains a sought-after name in music. His fan base is massive, and they want to see him succeed. More than that, they want to see him alive and thriving. On the other hand, every new incident, every disheveled public appearance, every suspicious stream chips away at their hope that he'll find a lifeline. From a career standpoint, the stakes couldn't be higher. Record labels prefer artists who can tour reliably, produce hit songs, and avoid constant legal drama. If Kodak doesn't break free from his destructive patterns, he risks losing not just his health, but also the creative platform he's worked so hard to build. Already, there are signs that promoters are growing wary of booking him, fearing the potential backlash if he has another meltdown on their stage. Fans are left stuck in a moral dilemma. They want to support him, stream his music, and attend his shows, but they don't want to feel like they're fueling his addiction. Is buying a concert ticket enabling him, or is it merely supporting the music they love? That question has sparked endless debates, with some fans calling for a full boycott until Kodak agrees to get help. Others argue that turning away from him might only worsen his isolation. For all his bravado, Kodak Black stands at a crossroads. By his own admission, he doesn't plan on getting sober or walking into a rehab facility anytime soon. People close to him watch with their hearts in their throats, wondering if this is another cautionary tale unfolding in real time. Each OD rumor, each public slip-up, each social media rant reminds everyone that the stakes are sky high. Whether Kodak chooses to see this as a final wake-up call or continues down a perilous road remains to be seen. At times, he's shown flashes of self-awareness, moments where he acknowledges his mistakes and even expresses regret about glamorizing substance use in his music. But for now, the cycle continues, and nobody can say for sure how or if it will end. Fans, critics, and fellow artists can only watch and wait, offering thoughts, prayers, and the occasional plea for him to get help. Will he be just another rap legend lost too soon, or will he find a way to turn his life around before the worst happens? That decision ultimately rests with Kodak himself. It's a chilling reminder that all the fame and talent in the world can't save someone who isn't ready to be saved. Still, a glimmer of hope exists. If there's one thing the world of hip-hop knows, it's that even the darkest stories can sometimes find redemption at the last moment.